Welcome to Think Big for Africa podcast. On this podcast, we will bring you interesting conversations with local, national, and international African leaders from all walks of life, home and abroad. Leaders who are doing their bits to progress Africa's development. Conversation topics will range from education, science, health, leadership, politics, business, and many other global issues. Conversations about everything that concerns Africa's development. Africa has so many wonderful achievers worldwide, and this is exactly what we will bring to you on Think Big for Africa podcast. Stay tuned.
Hello, welcome to the Think Big for Africa podcast. My name is Ekene Banye, your host. Today, I have another fantastic gentleman. He's somebody I check out on social media. You know, I like to listen to his take on several issues, economics and political issues. He's an economist and a political analyst. His name is Gbolahan Olojede. Gbolahan, how are you?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. And you?
I'm good. Yes, Gbolahan. See, before we started, you were telling me some very fantastic tales of your journey. From biochemistry to accountancy. Myself is biochemistry to MBA, banking, like that, you know. So we have a common thread. So
correct.
Continue, go back one step and tell me my audience your story again.
Okay, like I said, I have a fairly convoluted background. My first degree was in biochemistry. Though there's even a little part of my story which I don't like to omit because it's a small part, but I love it. And that is the fact that after I left high school, I actually learned fashion designing. So I learned tailoring. So I see myself as a qualified tailor first before I can start talking about chemistry.
No, me, I'm not a qualified tailor, but my mother used to do some things in that area. So I was a ironing boy, you know. So
okay. I think I started somewhere along that line. My mom had this sewing machine at home. And she does a little bit of sewing from time to time. And also when I left secondary school, my father was like, this thing you're just staying at home, not doing anything. Why don't you go learn how to make clothes? Ooh. So it took me somewhere where I learned to make clothing. It became an important part. So my first degree, like I said, was in biochemistry. But after the biochemistry, I decided I wanted to be an accountant, and it had to do with some experiences I had with biochemistry. I did some sort of vacation jobs at the hospital, General Hospital on Broad Street, and I found out that I did not like the environment. So I started asking myself that we are told that one of the places we could work as a biochemist and it's an hospital environment. Of course, we could have the industrial part and stuff. And I told myself, I don't like the hospital environment. So this is not going to work for me. So I decided to be an accountant. So I started from foundation. So I wrote the foundation exam and all the three other professional levels that came after that. And I became a chartered accountant. But before this time, I had joined an accounting firm where I was, learning the ropes. Then from the accounting firm, I joined a finance house. In the dying days of the finance house, it was very that's challenging.
That's early 20th century, 21st century.
That would be The first crash of the finance houses where you have those, there was this popular commercial on TV then. Everybody come inside. Forum, that was the name of that organization. And then when the likes of Forum collapsed, several other finance houses collapsed, and it was a messy stuff. So but I was there for just a very short period. I was in the finance house for 1 year before I went to Guardian newspapers.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Guardian newspapers, I joined Guardian newspapers as an auditor. I later moved to account as financial accountant.
Okay.
I was there for about 4 years. So that's my experience with the media space.
Media. Okay.
So I've seen professional accounting, finance house, media. Then from media, I joined Standard Trust Bank then.
Okay.
So I came to banking from that.
Interesting.
Point. Yes. After a few years in banking, I decided I wanted to go to the US. I wanted to do an MBA.
Okay.
So I took what do you call this thing? Study leave. I took a study leave and I went to the US and took an MBA with Stephen F. Austin State University in Texas. I came back and joined UBA. So
by then has a UBA and Standard Bank merged?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes. In fact, that was the attraction. My former boss there was always telling me that a whole lot of nice things are happening in Nigeria. Oh, this is the time to come back and all that story. So well, I said, okay, let's go say. So I came back to Nigeria and I joined the UBA. I left UBA. Well, I did a bit of. I was in strategy and business transformation. Okay. And then at some point, UBA decided they wanted to do investment banking. So it floated this business called UBA Global Markets then. And I joined UBA Global Markets. Then from UBA Global Markets, Bank PHB also wanted to do investment banking. So they came to UBA, UBA Global Markets, and poached. So the three of us left, and we went to Bank PHB and joined it. So, of course, I was in Bank PHB. Intervention came. I left investment banking. I went to corporate banking. Then from corporate banking, I left banking entirely, and then I went to healthcare.
Interesting.
Yes.
Yes, you said it's
but
convoluted
now, not on the biochemistry side of things.
Yes.
But now as a finance person.
Wow.
Yeah. So I joined a company that was into medical equipment called GNC International. It's actually a foremost medical equipment company in Nigeria. And I was there for 5 years. After that, I wanted a taste of oil and gas. So I also went to oil and gas.
Waka waka.
Then from oil and gas, I joined the Globe. But I had a very short stay in Globe.
Yeah.
It wasn't an organization I was very
fond of. I get it.
Yes. Yeah. So I left and I joined a firm, a little boutique investment bank set up by one of my former bosses, incidentally. DMA Advisory and Management Services Limited, and that is where I am right now as an executive director.
Interesting. See, like I told my my last guest, Jeku.
Yeah, Jeku is my guy.
Yeah. See, I love people who are versed. See, yes, I stayed in banking for 12 years. But I never worked in a core banking function, and I was opportune to work on several projects that spans risk, control, sales, IT, everything. I started in HR because that's what my father does. Okay, my father retired as the deputy head of training in NNPC. So the line that got me into banking actually was HR. So I now went from HR to control to risk to process improvement and all that. And since when I came to the UK, I was in project as well, in banking. So that allowed me to see many, like, unlike most people in banking, they stay in one area and they stayed there for a long time. I never did. I never did that. I went from place to place to place to place. In fact, one of my bosses then was when I approached him to work with him, he said when I told him that he had to call the HR people to ask them, why is this boy running around everywhere? Anyway.
Because they want to expand his knowledge.
Yes, I see. Today I read all kind of books, So I like to talk to people like you, and I think our country and Africa need people whose space is broad, that they're not. Well, we need specialists, but specialists are going to be the role of specialists is very critical, but specialists cannot be the ultimate leaders. We need leaders who are broad, and yeah, that's good. That's good.
Right.
Like I said, I want to start this discussion with hot takes. Now, yes. 2 days ago, I heard that the US government came out that they don't have any evidence of killings in Lekki toll gate last October, I think, as part of at the end of the NSAS protest. Right. I understand that. I understand that language. It means they don't have evidence. Okay. It doesn't mean it happened. It doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Okay. So because a lot of people online and in groups, in WhatsApp groups are getting angry that why is the government, US government saying that, blah, blah, blah. I tell them, they're telling you they don't have any opinion because they don't have evidence. That doesn't mean it happened. That doesn't mean it didn't happen. What's your take on it? What's your take on this?
It's a very emotional thing. So I've been very careful about what I say in that space.
Yes.
This conclusion that the US is reaching now, some of us have reached this conclusion 5 months ago. From what we were seeing, we felt that there is need for an improved level of verifiable evidence.
Evidence, yes.
Yes, and that was not in that space. There were all sort of things that were, here and there, but when it comes to what you call verifiable evidence, it becomes a problem. I will give you an example. A verifiable evidence, an example of a verifiable evidence in that matter was that there was a satellite image that shows the military leaving Banye camp.
Okay.
It showed them moving all through Zumbambadiwe till they reached the toll gate.
Okay.
They came down from their truck, carried their gun, and started to fire. And that was the end of that satellite image. Now, that is easy to follow because it's a satellite image. You could see it.
Yeah.
But my question was, why did that satellite image stop at that level?
Okay, that's a question. That's a good question.
Yes. If only that satellite image has been extended for the next 1 hour, there won't be any debate at all. We will have seen as the bullets were hitting people, as they were falling down, as the dead bodies were being picked, as they were piled up in the truck, whatever happened to, we will have seen everything.
Yeah.
But without that, it becomes difficult to say
it happened,
dead body
it didn't
was
happen.
found floating in the river somewhere, that therefore it came from there, or that therefore it was as a result of the fire from the military. So that is not to say, like you and I have agreed at the beginning, we are not controverting the fact that it could have happened. We are only saying that
there's
the
no evidence
of the evidence is not good enough.
Yes.
It's not good enough.
Yeah.
One DJ said, oh, 70 people have been killed. That is not evidence. You know, she said it, that is fine. But when it comes to concrete evidence, we need to step up. The game should have been better, essentially.
You know why I brought this? Because our people, we need to understand what evidence means.
Correct.
Because we get into so many arguments, unnecessary arguments about things that happen or didn't happen, but in truth, we don't have evidence. Okay,
that is the problem.
Yes, sometimes things happen, we don't have picture evidence, but we can gather evidence by analyzing other things in that environment that will give us concrete evidence that this happened, but then we don't have what's the word? We don't have the okay, but we have enough evidence to say this happened.
This happened.
Unfortunately, we don't have enough evidence to say this actually happened this way.
Yes.
So
I think the best we can say is that, well, it was obvious that people died.
Okay. But how did
when
they
you're
die?
talking of a massacre means you expect to have strings of bodies.
Yes.
Lots of people were killed.
Yes.
So the evidence of lots of people being killed required more than what we have been able to display. You know, there are all sort of arguments about how the government switch off the light, the camera at the place did not pick it. Nobody could have switched off the satellites. Let's say they switch off the light at the tollgate, they switch off the camera. Well, the satellite should have been there to show us.
The story about the satellite, like you said, the satellite captured them from their barracks up to the location.
When they got to the tollgate, then it stopped.
Stop. So we don't know why that happened. Okay. People can make any conclusions, but that conclusion doesn't matter because you don't have the evidence, you know. The other thing I want to talk about, I actually saw this on your Facebook page.
Okay.
About I saw that some days ago about this lady lawmaker that said, well, she started in a manner I like, that we need to be able to talk to each other. Okay, that's good. But then
correct.
What she actually said at the end made me say, oh, what is she talking about? Saying that nobody should indict the headmen for loving their cattle more than human being. And her argument was that the same headsmen love the cattle more than themselves. Okay, so because they love the cattle more than themselves, so everybody else need to buy into that view of life. That's what she's saying.
Essentially.
Yeah, it's essentially. It's something that scared me. This is a lawmaker, a lawmaker for human beings. Okay, that is telling you and me that we should love somebody who is killing people just because they are trying to protect something they love more than themselves.
More than life. Yeah.
Yes, more than human life. So it's okay.
It's quite unfortunate. But can I permit me to make a couple of like a rounding comment on that on the previous question, which is on the NSAS.
Okay.
What cannot be debated about that? There are a few things that could not be debated about the NSAS problem. Number one is that some people actually died in that event. Some people were also maimed.
Okay.
Now, I make to say boldly that the people that died were voiceless Nigerians. If the children of some CEOs or if some celebrities have died in that event, it would have been a different matter.
Yes.
So essentially, it became a case in which the people that know more or know better actually did not get hurt in that event.
Okay.
While some voiceless Nigerians got killed. Now, a sacrifice has been made in blood, and it should not be allowed to go to waste.
Yeah.
The quantum of young people that are in this country is amazing. The median age in Nigeria is 18.1 years. So if you look at the number of people between age 18 and 39, I did an extrapolation, and from my extrapolation, there are close to 60 million Nigerians.
My God, that's 3 countries.
That's 3 countries put together.
Yes.
You know, they can change everything they want to change.
Oh, yeah.
With that number.
Oh, yeah.
And it is possible to achieve more at the polls than on the street. So I'm willing, I'm praying that the young people will see this as a takeaway from that event and will not allow those lives that were lost to be lost in vain.
Waste. Yeah, I agree with you absolutely. I do agree with you. Now for that to happen, they need leadership.
Definitely. Now I'm going to. I need to go back to the House of Rep. Lady. I was embarrassed to see that video. At that level of leadership, I did not expect that kind of thinking. So I guess that was where the shock was coming from.
Yeah.
But when I situate what she said with some other comments I've heard also at those high levels.
Yes.
Yes, I said, well, it's not exactly out of place.
So
I'm thinking at that level, yes. And it's part of the reason why we are where we are.
Where we are, yeah.
Yes. Okay. There was this book by Malcolm Gladwell. I can't remember which one particularly because I've read all the books. So sometimes
I've read a few
I mix the content in one from another.
Yeah.
So in that particular book, it was talking about some headers that migrated from Sicily.
It's in have it right there. Yeah. Outliers.
Maybe it's outliers.
Yes, is that
okay,
that's
so
where it is. Yeah.
These headers migrated from Sicily and settled in some part of New York.
Yeah.
And it described the level of violence that typified that settlement where these guys were. So essentially, what he was trying to say was that there is something about herding
Herders.
animals
Yes.
that disposes them to violence.
Yes.
It could
Also
be
in Ireland. Yeah.
Yes.
That, yeah.
So what we're experiencing in Nigeria with
It's not
herdsmen
unique.
is not peculiar
Yeah.
to, it's not a Fulani problem. No, it's a herder problem.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, all those other places we're talking about today, they understand that they have done something to ensure that the herders will not continue to live a life of violence like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what should drive our own thinking in Nigeria.
Exactly.
Not the kind of words that House of Rep member was saying. It was disgraceful.
Yes.
We cannot be saying that, in fact, she said that is the way God created them, that they love the cow more than even their own life.
Yes.
So, as if we are supposed to now live with someone who loves a cow more than his own life. I mean, is that what we're supposed to live with in this century? You see, but she doesn't know better.
Well, like you said, that's the level of leadership that we have in our country. See, this is, let me say this. My own view of people who are elected to public office. You see, in this era, we cannot continue electing people who are not knowledgeable to public office. Now,
correct.
I'm not saying they must go to university. No, at all. But I'm saying this: they must be very vast. They can read. Okay? You don't need to go to university to read a book. Okay? I know a lot of people who, well, maybe some of them went 1 year, 2 years, they left. But any book of consequence, in leadership, in this, they have read. And they can discuss all these issues with anyone.
Correct.
Okay? So,
correct.
So you don't need to go to university, but you, as a politician, you must be well read. You must understand.
I perfectly agree with you.
You must understand the history of your people, the issues that they have been fighting for 20, 30 years. And that needs you to read.
It needs you to read.
Okay.
What is even more interesting is the fact that reading has been made easier.
Easy.
If you can't carry a book and start flipping, there are audio books you can listen. You can sit in your car and play an audio book while you stay in traffic.
I have issues with reading, but in the last 5 years, I bought almost 200 audiobooks, and I've listened to maybe 170 in the last 5 years.
That's a feat. That's a huge one.
Okay. So in every area of life. Yeah. You know.
So there's no excuse. John Maxwell said 2 important requirements for leadership.
Yes.
Competence.
Yeah.
Integrity.
Yes.
So with your competence and character, you can lead. If any of those 2 is missing, either competence is missing or character is missing, you are going to get a defective leader.
Yes. And how do you gather competence?
Of course, it's by
study.
Gather the knowledge where it is.
Yeah. So that's a major issue with our country, because I will tell you, I'm not the sharpest person. Okay, most of the times I just listen to people talking and I gather what they're saying. But when I hear most of our politicians, not only politicians, are leaders, because for me, I think the most consequential leaders we have are pastors and imams. Okay, more than no, in truth, more than the politicians. Yeah, because our pastors and imams control the politicians. To me, that's my view. Okay, so for those people to be competent, they need to understand things. That means they need to read as much as possible. At least, see, reading will put you in a place to ask questions, to ask more questions. You know.
Sorry to cut you short. Imagine that woman who believed that we should all pay attention to somebody who loved cow more than his life. Imagine that he had read that Malcolm Gladwell's
Gladwell, yeah. Outliers.
That might have changed our perception. So
yes,
it will begin to understand that it is not a Fulani problem.
Yes.
It is the fact that they are herders.
Yeah.
When you do the kind of nomadic herding that you do, it disposes you to violence.
Yeah.
Simple. And you will know that in those parts, things have been fixed. Why can't we fix our own problem?
Yes. Yes. My disposition is not because we have these difficulties. No, we need to have difficulties to grow. What pains me is that we don't have leaders who can handle these things and fix them. You know, if with people like that saying those kind of things, you know, and the only thing that will come of it is arguments. Okay, unnecessary arguments.
Of course.
Instead of debates and conclusions and agreeing on what to do.
There are so many of these guys.
Yeah.
We have a governor in Nigeria who does not believe in COVID. Up till now, not a single soul has been vaccinated in his state because he thinks some people are trying to kill Africans. I don't know if you want to kill Africans who need to go via all the route of COVID to kill Africans. Africans that can't even common food, we can't feed ourselves. A lot of the food we eat in Africa are imported.
Yes.
If they want to kill us, they have 1,001 ways
to kill
Africans. Yes, now you have another governor who said headers should carry AK-47 now, that they needed to defend themselves. And I'm like, this is a governor. So when you have leaders in a country who make such utterances, you know the level of thinking that is going on in their heads. Yeah. It becomes a little difficult for that nation to progress as well as it should.
Yeah. Now, talking about our National Assembly.
Yeah.
Do we actually need 2 tiers? House of Reps and Senate.
Now,
do we actually need it?
The truth is we don't.
We don't.
Our problem is when we do copy and paste. We have copied this bicameral legislature from the United States.
Yes.
And we just slammed it on our own system without adapting it. It's a very expensive system.
Yes.
Okay. America itself is number one in economic size. So I don't know why a country of our size will start adopting a model that America has been using without adapting it to its own peculiar situation.
Yeah.
So when you copy something, you feel it is good, that's fine. When you take it down, you say, okay, because this is the way I am.
Yes.
Therefore, let's tweak it this way. Let's amend it this way. You have 109 people as senators. You have 360 or thereabout of them as House of Rep members. And then Some huge budget goes there, a whole lot of wastages, official cards, all sort of things are going on there. What makes it worse? It's not this, but the fact that we're spending the money, we're not even getting the results.
Yeah, how can we get the result when the people who go there do not know a thing?
So it's a shame. I don't. The funny thing is, so who is now going to bail the cat? Because the people who are supposed to make the law to
exactly
help us amend are the people that are affected. It's a very interesting scenario.
You see, the people who make the law to slim down our National Assembly are the same people who don't want to change things.
Exactly.
So what is the recourse? See, these are the things that I'm afraid of, because without making adjustments now and to continue waiting for years and years, and the younger generation become more frustrated by the day, what do we expect sometime down the line?
You see, everything rise and fall on leadership.
Yep.
Yes. So if we get the right people in position, it makes things a lot easier for us. So there are people who don't feed on politics. It's not a do or die affair for them.
Yes.
What matters to them is a heart of service.
Yes.
So that person is not going there to go and
make money.
Oh, what will I eat now if I sponsor a bill to trim down the National Assembly? Then that means I may not be coming back next. No. It's not bothered about that. It's bothered more about what will serve the interest of the people, the more. Yeah. Even if it hurts his own political ambition. So there are people who are not scared of losing political capital for a right decision.
Yes.
When there's something called the Seward Folly in America. There was this Secretary of State who bought Alaska from Russia. When that transaction was done, it was considered so foolish by the people that the thing became referred to as a folly.
Okay.
Now, come to think of it, but the guy wasn't concerned. They said, "Oh, how can you go and spend $7 million?
Can you imagine?
To buy a pack of ice?" Because $7 million, Alaska was regarded as a pack of ice.
Yeah.
Some years later, during the Cold War, just imagine that Russia still owns Alaska.
Yeah, that means they're there. At your backyard.
If your enemy is right at your backyard. That is the nature of leaders who make things change. They leave history forward.
Yeah.
So they're not just thinking about themselves or what will happen to their own political capital immediately. Of course, your political capital, you may lose political capital.
Yeah.
Immediately, but history will judge you right, because some years down the line, that right decision that you make that some people do not even know, they will still come to praise you for taking the decision you have taken. So getting right people in position at the National Assembly, at the executive, we go a long way to help us fix a lot of this problem that we have. So people who are willing to serve, who are willing to sacrifice, will help us get to the destination.
Yeah. Again, talking about the National Assembly, about 2 weeks ago, I saw the deputy head of the House of Rep.
Deputy Speaker. Yeah.
Okay.
Deputy Speaker.
Okay. a honorable member wanted to read a petition from somebody like me,
like you.
Yes, who is concerned about the events in the country, but he lives outside the country. Okay. And the deputy speaker didn't even allow him to read it, on the notion that because the people who wrote that petition live outside the country, that they don't have a right to bring a query to the floor of the House.
Yeah.
Do we have leaders in that country?
It was another very embarrassing play. When I saw that video, I could almost cry. At the level of deputy speaker, this is a guy who is automatically the speaker of the House in the absence of the substantive speaker.
Yes.
And the level of knowledge is such that he doesn't think that a Nigerian who is living outside Nigeria has a stake or can bring a petition.
Yes.
Come to think of it, if only he had thought through what was going on a little bit, just put a little thought to it, he will have remembered that even as Nigerians, we were petitioning, we were sending petition to the UK, to America, to intervene in matters that are Nigeria matters.
Okay.
We, Nigeria,
so who gave the right?
To them.
Who gave you the right?
So they are not even Nigerians. And then this gentleman is now saying Nigerians cannot send petition to Nigeria?
Yes, because they are outside Nigeria.
He embarrassed himself, to say the least. He embarrassed all of them. Because anybody,
hold on, Gbolahan.
It's our speaker. So
you can only embarrass yourself if you actually believe that, you goofed. But has the guy come to his senses? Because if he still holds that view, then there's no he's not going to change. He's not going to act differently if he has another opportunity.
I'm sure he will have been told.
So does he need somebody to tell him?
Well, some people will have told him after that embarrassing moment anyway. In fact, his press secretary released a statement after that. Though when you read the statement, you still see a lot of mumbo jumbo. So even the press secretary, sorry to say, is not even competent at the job, because the kind of defense that the press secretary was putting up in the statement he issued doesn't show that he understands what the problem was. So we have a serious problem at leadership level.
Yes,
and it is
we
at
do.
the very heart
We do.
The way we are.
Yes.
Is the reason we're not moving as well as we're supposed to move forward.
Well,
with that kind of a person, how do you intend to move forward?
Okay. Now, talking about that,
that's the problem. I
saw a video.
It's difficult.
I saw a video. I don't know who this person is, but I guess it's another leader of Nigeria who was in arguments in a shopping center, that he slapped somebody.
Oh, okay.
That people gathered.
Is that a recent one or an old one?
I saw that 2 days ago, and yesterday I saw his.
Okay, I know the one you're talking about.
Okay.
That's the Umar. Umar is what's the name of this agency? This agency that deals with public officers' assets.
Okay. Huh? So
yes, that's the leader of that.
We have this.
He was slapping a security man in the public.
Okay. I mean, we have this kind of people everywhere.
And a couple of years ago, we had the one of a senator who was slapping a lady.
Yes. Exactly.
I went to a store to buy some stuff, and then there were some things happened, and the next thing he just started slapping the lady as if, and I'm like, what is this? Only in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And that man, there was no punishment. Nothing happened. He's still a senator. He's there.
Okay.
Well,
And
maybe he has done some out
and
of
that's why
settlement and gave the lady money. And that's it. And that is how this current one we also end. The Umar guy, of course, the young man, I learned some lawyers have approached him. He has gone to court. But nothing will happen beyond money.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, a man who holds that kind of a political, a public office, and is slapping a Nigerian citizen in public, should resign. Should not even wait for himself
instantly.
To fire. He should leave by himself.
See, but if somebody who works for the prime minister of this country does something like that, instantly he's gone.
He will leave.
Before he's anything, gone. Nobody will tell him. He will bring his letter to the prime minister and leave before the police now arrest him, take him to police station, charge him. But in Nigeria, nothing happens. So with those kind of leadership issues, so many in every sector of governance. I mean, what should we do?
That's why we are where we are. What should we do? 2023 is upon us again.
Yes.
Though it is still 2021, but we can already see the space, and we know that things are starting to gather storm. Number one plea I've been making on every platform that I found myself, whether it's on TV, it's on radio, I'm engaging on social media, anywhere, is that we must participate more in the electoral process.
Yes.
My plea has been for Nigerians to participate more in the electoral process.
Yes. So,
and my favorite numbers reference is 2019 presidential election.
Yes.
In 2019 presidential election, the total number of votes, APC plus PDP, was 26 million.
Can you imagine that?
Meanwhile, 80 million people were registered as voters.
Yeah.
So 80 million voters, 26 million people voted. What were the other 54 million doing on election day? So there are several stages to this thing. Now, you have people who did not even register, that which means they are not even in that 80 million.
Yes.
You have people who registered but did not collect their voters' cards.
Yeah.
Then you have people who registered, collected their voters' card, but on voting day, on election day, they refused to come out and vote. They were in their house, they saw it as another holiday, and they pop champagne and were drinking in their house. You know, and will rather engage on social media after that and blame everybody for what is not going right.
Yes.
You also did not do what is right when you have a card and you refuse to vote. So there are several reasons why people are saying they did not vote. Some people will say, oh, it's because I don't believe that my vote counts. For some people, it is because it is difficult. Nigeria made it difficult for people to actually collect their cards, their voters' card. I knew what I went through to collect my own voters' card, and it shouldn't be like that.
Yeah.
So while we will appeal to people to please participate in this electoral process, we will also appeal to government to please kindly make it easier on us.
Well, sorry, see, for some politicians, they know that when more people actually participate, they would lose, and that's why they don't want people to actually like our senior brothers in that country. They do that. Yeah. Yeah. See, for me, like you said before, young people need to get involved in the political process, either
That's
as
very, very important.
either as politicians and as electorates. We need to
Correct.
do that. See, like I've said this many times on this podcast. Unfortunately, while I was in Nigeria, I didn't vote for some very stupid reasons. Okay, but I have learned not to ever do that again. Okay. In the UK, I voted more than 5 times.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. And in May, next month, we are going to have a political, the police commissioner election. You know, and
Okay.
I'm going to vote. Yeah.
That's how it should be.
I have a friend. I have a friend who is a local councillor in my town. Okay.
Fantastic.
Yes. She belongs to the other party who I don't vote for, but she's my friend.
So because it's your friend, if you believe in him, you will still vote for him.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, she her area is not under where I live, so I can't vote for her.
Okay.
See, but
So,
what I'm saying is this:
those are the things.
people need to get engaged. Okay.
Exactly.
Now I ask the question, why politics? Okay, because actually politics has not brought any great thing to us. But see, when I ask the question, people think I say we don't need some form of a way to elect our leaders. No. See, I ask the question, why politics? But I'm not asking why democracy. They're two different things. Okay. See, I'm not saying no democracy, no. But I'm asking why politics? Because it's politics that makes politicians to not want people to vote, because they know when they vote, I will lose. Politics is the reason why some politicians argue things that they know for a fact is wrong, just to win a point in politics.
Correct.
See, so I ask the question, and I will ask the question more in my book, which I'm writing, because we need to think about this. Okay, we need to think about what are we doing and how does it help us? Because if what we're doing doesn't help us, then we need to change it. I mean, can you imagine the people between 18 years old and 39 years old, 60 million in Nigeria alone? Okay.
Right.
So think about the whole Africa. Okay. Yeah. Maybe 800 million people. Okay. Maybe within from birth to 39. Okay. But the point is this: we have a lot of young people.
Correct.
Okay. And in Nigeria, for example, education is not doing the work. And I'm sure, do you have kids?
Yeah, sure, I do.
Okay, I'm sure your kids go to private schools.
They do.
Okay. And so does my sisters. In our era, did you go to private school?
No.
Okay.
Public.
Me too.
Public, private, public, primary, public,
everything.
Secondary.
Everything. Public, primary, secondary, university.
University, yes.
See, this is problem. This is
a
big
for
problem
now, and it's also a problem for the future.
Yes.
And I'm actually much more worried about the future.
Yes.
The out of school children is already a worrisome trend.
Okay.
And we have seen how people who are destructive have tapped into that demographic.
Yeah.
To recruit for their unwholesome activities.
Yeah.
Because like they say, the idle man's mind is the devil's workshop.
Yes.
So when you're not busy, you don't have it. It's much worse in the north, I must say.
Okay.
And that is because of some other system. You have what you call the Almajiri system, which used to be a fairly good system. It was working some years ago, some 60, 70 years ago. It was working. It was well funded and oiled. But we dropped the funding, but we did not drop the practice. So we lure millions of young people into this system, and they are stuck. They have no education, they have no skills.
Yeah.
So they become automatic beggars, useless, outrightly useless. Now, coming to the South too, we have, to a lesser extent, much lesser extent actually, but what we have more of is the quality of those education, of the education we are providing, that has dropped dramatically.
Yes.
From time to time, I get involved in recruitment, maybe having to interview people that we are hiring into our organization. And I've had certain very embarrassing encounters. On one occasion, a gentleman has come for an interview, and a graduate, a single sentence, a correct sentence of English, one, he could not speak. Man. At a point in time, I was going to stand up from the interview. But unfortunately for me, I got locked in because it was myself and my CEO that were involved. So I got stuck listening to. She just kept probing the guy, trying to imagine, did this guy actually go to school? It was a major disaster, and it is not just him.
Yeah,
there are a whole lot of people like that, and it is creating what you call unemployability. So there is unemployment problem, there is underemployment problem, there is unemployability. So you have these people, they said they have gone to school, but nobody is ever going to give them a job because they are unemployable. Now, come to the nature of I always like to talk about three legs to education. One is the infrastructure, so the educational infrastructure. Number two is the curriculum. What are they teaching there? Yeah. Number three is the teachers. Who are the people who are teaching them? Yeah. Yes. On the three, we have failed significantly. Massively. On the curriculum, we are still largely teaching people based on the industrial age curriculum. Yeah. And even then we're lacking. Even in those we're lacking. Yes. Even in those ones we're lacking. So people are being taught a whole lot of things they don't need. And the things they need, they are not being taught a whole lot of it. So they come out a misfit into the labor market. Yeah. Because the skills that have been bestowed on them is not the same skill that the market needs. So it becomes a problem. That's a curriculum problem. Yeah. Now, on the infrastructure, you have people who are still being taught under the trees in Nigeria. You have classes that have no roof. Yeah, I've seen a lot of that. Yes. Yeah. You see students who have to carry their own chairs to class, to school every day. There are no libraries, no teaching aids. So while people are studying on computer and handheld devices all over the whole place, to even get a standard chalkboard is a problem in some part of Nigeria. I was discussing with a friend who is a northerner one day of this education thing. And I was saying, you people are not doing enough in encouraging your people to go to school. He said what a lot of Southerners don't understand is that the problem goes beyond asking them to go to school, that in certain instances, there are even no schools to go to. So it complicates the problem. The third leg, which is the teachers, is horrendous. We have teachers who, I think it was Kwara State some years ago that did a test for teachers. Teachers teaching in primary school could themselves not pass a primary 4 standard examination.
Can you imagine that?
And they are teaching. When Kaduna State did it, it was a total mess. And the Rufai was like, no, there's no way we're going to keep this teacher. We have to let them go. It became a problem then. I think Nigerian Labour Congress waited. And the guy was like, look.
Hold on. Sorry.
Yes.
So Nigeria Labour Congress waiting that they must keep those teachers.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Wait, hold on.
I don't think that was what happened eventually anyway.
Oh, hold on. But yeah. they wanted that to happen.
Correct.
Right? So
yes,
you know that the members of your labor movement are not qualified for the job they have, and you guys don't think, let us start a training so that we can make sure our members are up to date. In fact, to drop the curriculum of training for those people and then send those things to their employers and demand that these things must be part of your negotiation. Okay.
I believe that eventually was brought on the table.
Okay.
A situation in which some of these teachers would just be upgraded. So you send them to training, necessary training, and then they are upgraded and they can perform better. But then that was just, I mentioned Kaduna, I mentioned Kwara. Is a disaster all across the length and breadth of the country. So if we don't have the infrastructure, if we're on the wrong curriculum and we don't have the teachers, how are we going to progress? Budget. Where is the budget? Are we funding education? In South Africa, education budget is referred to as learning and culture or something like that. That's what they call it in South Africa. The annual budget in South Africa is more than the entire budget of Nigeria. The annual budget for education in South Africa is bigger than the entire budget.
And the population is maybe 1/3.
There are 60 million people.
Yes,
that's
1/3.
Million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So think about it. So is Nigeria going to be able to compete with South Africa 10 years down the lane with the kind of investment that we're making? Now, that will also dovetail into a topic I won't want to go into today, but let me just mention it. How come we have so little to spend in education? It is because generally, in totality, we have very poor revenue level as a country.
Yes, and yet, members of House and Senate are taking the chunk.
Yes, the little we have, we waste a chunk of it.
Yeah,
it is already very small. It's already very tiny. Then we waste this tiny amount.
Yes. Okay. So see, let me put. I had this one as 2 questions, but let me put them together.
Okay.
We now have this deficient educational system. Okay. We have last month I saw a list of approved universities. about 30 something new universities, right? Private. Okay. So I think by now, if you add that with the one we already have private, so very soon the number of private universities will surpass the government universities. Okay.
Yeah.
The question I ask is this: I know for a fact that some of the best universities in the country were built by churches, right? Am I right?
Correct.
Okay. So the question is this: yes, I've heard how good they are. Okay, I've heard that they're good. Okay, and I'm happy. Okay, one, I know that people whose parents are not rich will never go to the schools. Okay, that's one thing. So we are creating a big divide. Okay, that's one. Two, I'm interested in science because yes, we need accountants, we need mass comm, we need English, but what we need more is scientists. Yeah.
Correct.
For me, looking at the way the presiding pastors, that the people that preside in those churches that own the schools, the way they talk about science and the way they talk about evidence-based learning, how can we be sure that they will not take that to the universities and stop our next generation stars from learning the real things that they should learn in science?
Okay, I understand your concern, and I think it's a genuine concern. It's not yet happening,
how do you know?
We must be thinking ahead. Because we still get to know what is going on in some of the schools.
Okay.
Yeah. Largely, these people, the church leaders, have not been interfering. Largely, I said, with the running of the academic pursuit of those institutions.
Okay.
They've not been interfering. I happen to know some very senior people in some of those institutions, and the feelers I get is that no, they allow you to run your thing, and some of them are running medicine, even if they refuse to build hospitals outside, but they have hospitals for their medical school right inside the institution there, and it is medicine. They are teaching them not healing by the power of Muhammad or Jesus, as the case may be.
Okay.
So, but I understand your concern, and it is something to watch. We need science.
Yes.
But we have been mouthing our need for science. Science requires funding.
Yes.
University education generally requires funding.
Yes.
He who pays the piper calls the tune.
Exactly.
And it is something we must be conscious of. In some other societies, it is not, science funding is not left for the government alone.
Yeah.
Of course, government does a lot, but there are private involvement in funding of science, in funding of research and science and technology.
Well, see, now that comes, it starts from a professor, okay, a lecturer who is studying something exciting, okay? And then when he goes to his seminars, he pitches that to somebody who works in the private sector. You see, if our lecturers, our science lecturers, don't come up with interesting research, nobody out there will tell them, go and do this. No, that's left for our lecturers to come up with those ideas, okay, and then go and pitch those ideas to
the private sector.
Yes. So until they do that, nobody's going to tell them anything.
I agree with you to a large extent, and
okay.
I will the small bits where I disagree, I will also talk about.
Okay.
It. I agree with you to a large extent because I'm also convinced that it is the duty of these university systems to court the private sector.
Yeah.
To come to their aid. You court them.
Yes.
You know, and that's essentially what you're saying. But the flip side is that there are a whole lot of societal problems that the private sector itself is dealing with. And it can begin to commission these universities to do it.
Okay,
one of the
true.
Recent books
that's
of Malcolm that I read, don't working with strangers or something like that.
Okay.
No, that I read. It was talking about even social science researches. He mentioned a particular state that they had to deal with certain problems. And what did they do? The police of the state commissioned universities on research.
My friend, I understand. See, that's what happened in this country. See, there's nothing that the government, either at the federal level, the county level, the town level, that they do without getting the position of people in academia who are experts on that subject.
Correct.
Now, again, that's where I blame our lecturers. See, I've talked about this. If I start telling you that, we'll waste a lot of time. We'll talk about this after, because okay. it's a very important thing. See, academia is a very vital part of society.
Correct.
You see, and see, our lecturers think that their job is in the school. No.
It's just to carry some handout and use some 1982 notes.
Their job is to educate the public. So, for example, how many lecturers have articles in the newspaper? See,
some do.
This one, for example,
maybe 1%.
Okay, see, we have had this issue in Lagos for decades now. Our hold-ups, okay, our hold-ups, they have been on for decades. Okay, are we telling ourselves that they are not medical professors, sociologists, psychologists, that they can't sit down together, write maybe a 4-week weekend full spread article about how that hold-ups affects the economics, affect our health, affect our social. I mean, write these things in a language.
Give you an example.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry to butt in. We've been trying to solve the Apapa problem for a long time. In a sane country, in a sane environment,
yes,
they will have put that thing on the research. It will be in the academics.
Exactly.
You know, and they will go through, analyze the problems, profile a solution.
Yeah.
And this is how societies work. When people were committing suicide, this is also part of that latest Malcolm's book.
Yeah.
There was a time that people were using gas, the cooking gas, to commit suicide.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was very prevalent then. I mean, this was some decades ago.
Yeah.
And one of the ways that the society, including in fact in the UK too, one of the ways the society dealt with it was via research.
Yeah.
And it was, as part of that research, it was found out that when you make it easier for people to commit suicide, there will be more suicide cases. What do I mean? They also used the example of a bridge, I think in California, where people were jumping down and dying.
Golden Gate. Yeah.
And to reduce the rate of suicide, just make it difficult for people to jump.
Yes.
And the rate of suicide just went dramatically down. As simple. So in Nigeria, we had a situation in which people were committing suicide using a pesticide, a common pesticide.
Yeah.
And the thing remained in the market continuously.
Okay. And
people were using it day in, day out.
Okay. And nothing happened.
Meanwhile, a simple research will have told us that if you remove that item from the market, the rate of suicide will automatically crash.
Okay. See, we don't like anything that forces us to think. And see, school.
That's a sad one.
School is the place that should force us to think. Unfortunately, I will say this. Unfortunately, the people in schools who should force our kids to think deeper, they themselves have gone the other way. They don't think. Okay, they come to the class, vomit a textbook written by somebody in the West.
Imagine.
You know, that's what they do. So there's no constructive logic or criticism. There's nothing.
There's nothing.
So
there's nothing.
See, we have a big problem.
I agree with you.
We have an emerging middle class. But the problem is this. If we continue on this path where every day, every year, we increase the number of uneducated, unemployable youths, one day, those of us who think we are safe, we will not be safe.
Oh, he's already with that time.
Okay,
he's already here with us.
Okay. Okay. So see, for our own safety, it's not for them, but for us.
Our own enlightened self-interest.
Okay. So for our politicians who think they have police, they have this, they have that. Okay. So
which police?
Okay, that's the question. because they think they have somebody to guide them, that they're safe. No, see, think about those things. They need to think about these things, but they're so. I don't want to use the bad word, but they're not thinking at all. Yes.
Did you see the image or the video of the palliative looting at Jaws?
Yes, I saw it. I saw it, and
So any politician who think that when that mammoth come for him, that there is one police or one, is the person must be sick.
Yeah.
When they come for you, you are gone.
See, I thought that COVID, where nobody can run abroad for checkup, for hospitalization, that will force our politicians to start fixing the hospitals. So what I see now is that they don't care about anybody, and the young lady, young lady, told us that some of us love our cows more than ourselves. So that tells me a lot of things about us.
He says it all. That says it all.
The one thing I blame again as scientists is that what is happening in Africa in terms of COVID. Again, I'm happy that COVID didn't ravish us like many of us think it will. I'm happy. But we need, I talk about this with almost every guest because that's how important it is. You know, we need to start preparing for the next pandemic.
Correct.
For me right now, the first preparation should be, why did this virus not affect us the way everybody thought it should? See, by now, it's been a year. By now, we should have 20, 30 papers on this subject by African scientists.
It's not going to happen now. Is it this lecturer that are striking and going on industrial? 2-3 months, I will do it. It's not about to happen. You see, healthcare is a system. And to fix it, we must take a systemic approach. Don't forget, I spent 5 years in Nigerian healthcare space. Okay. And the bit that I have seen, we're not there. We're not there at all. I would suggest that at the barest minimum, maybe we can start with 2 or 3 components. Number one is the primary healthcare.
Okay.
Now, in Nigeria, more people are dying from preventable diseases,
yes,
than all these COVID issues. In one of the recent comments by Bill Gates, he alluded to that. So that, look, you people, you lose more people every year from to dysentery, to cholera, to
yes. And then our people are blaming him for wanting to kill us.
I don't mind all those are ignoramuses. So if we can fix primary healthcare,
yes,
because the effect of primary healthcare on the rest of the chain is very
massive. Yes.
So you go to Luth, for example, and you see someone who has malaria. He has come to Luth. What is somebody with malaria doing in a teaching hospital?
Yes.
He has no business being there. His problem should have been solved at the level of the primary healthcare center that is close to him. But when the primary healthcare center fails, then everybody cannot afford the secondary, because the secondary healthcare in Nigeria is provided by the private sector. Like 80% of it is provided by the private sector.
Yeah.
You know, so because a lot of them cannot afford the private sector, so they go to the tertiary institutions.
Yeah.
Which should be for complex situation referrals.
Yeah.
You know, so that and they head there. So fix the primary health care, and then we can begin to solve the problem. The second thing we need to fix is research.
Yeah.
which is where what you mentioned.
See, that's where the science is. That is
why
where the
did it not
science
affect
is.
us?
Yeah. See,
You know, and we can fund it. We just need to be creative about it. They believe that it is only government that has a stake, that it is only government that can fund it. We must even get out of that caste totally.
Yeah.
Because the truth is, we can get the private sector to fund it, to fund our research.
Yeah.
Then I think the last part is on the effective demand side of things, which will be done by insurance, the health insurance.
Well, see,
aspect.
now, when it comes to that, see, this is something I don't want us to take from the US at all.
Don't copy the US model.
Oh no! See, when it comes to the science, okay, I can take it from the US, but when it comes to healthcare, no way. Gbolahan, I will tell you for a fact, if I was in the US and not in the UK, I would be on the street. No, I'm telling you the truth.
Because of how costly healthcare could be.
I would be on the street. I would be on the street if I was in the US. But I'm talking to you today in my own apartment, not dying of hunger, because I live in a country where they take healthcare as a human rights issue. And that's why I'm passionate talking about we also need to see this as a human rights issue in our country, in our whole, in all over Africa. See, in fact, only America is the only major country that doesn't take healthcare as a human rights issue.
Well, they have also come a long way, though. It used to be much worse.
Yeah. See, hold on.
The Obamacare, for example, helped a little bit.
Yes.
Just a little bit.
See, that's where I don't want to give any props to the US. Okay, because see, since I became injured, I have researched a lot about American healthcare. See, all the things that's going on should not be going on because the resources are there, the funding, the expertise, the data, they're all there. The only reason why it's not available to everybody is money.
It's money. It's
okay?
money.
Now, I'm not saying the campaign is that people want to make massive money from this
healthcare.
Yes,
and
it's
people do.
It's like that lady lawmaker. Yeah. These people in America, in United States, take they don't value people's life. They love.
You really have something against this America.
They love money more than human beings. That's it. That is the truth. See, I love America. Before I came here, I never knew anything about the UK per se, but from childhood, I loved everything America. Today, my favorite sports are American. Basketball is my favorite sport. Football, American football. These are the things I watch more than soccer.
More than soccer, interesting.
More than soccer by far.
Wow.
I've been an NBA fan for more than 30 years.
I bet.
Okay.
Wow.
So I love things America, but In the last 10
But you
years,
don't love their healthcare.
no. Their healthcare and their politics, I don't love.
The healthcare is it has a whole lot of buts. I agree with you. Don't in my school years in America, part of the way I was able to pay my bills was also by working in their healthcare system.
Okay.
So I got a certification in nursing assistant or a nurse assistant certification.
Wow.
And there's another one they call psychiatric technician.
Okay.
I also got that one. I mean, you can sit down with a man and all that stuff.
You like Buko.
No, it wasn't much. I mean, it was something for high school people to do, you know. But then it was paying the bills. It was good, you know. So and a whole lot of Nigerians were also into it.
Yeah.
You know, and I got exposed a little bit to their hospital, the healthcare system. You know, from being effective perspective is very effective. But from the funding side of things, there's major problem because even their own citizens cannot afford their own
That's
care.
the point.
And that is the point. That is the problem.
You have all the expertise, everything, all the science, the technology, you have everything. And yet people outside the hospital are dying just because they don't have money.
Yeah. It's quite unfortunate.
People are losing
it's an expensive
their livelihood, their everything they have for medical bills
because of health. Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, after they sold everything, they will now die.
Maybe it is the poverty that has descended of them that will even kill them at that
stage. so I mean, so now, how many African politicians have died of COVID?
I know there is Nkurunziza. Is that Burundi?
Mm-hmm.
And then I think this recent guy too, though it wasn't said.
It wasn't explicit, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I think he died of COVID.
Yeah, I think so too.
In between that, you have all sort of senior ministers in several of these countries.
Yeah.
Including even Nigeria.
Okay.
We lost senior government people too.
Yes.
To COVID. So a number of people died.
Okay. My question is this: what is the common thread?
For most of the people that died, it was ignorance, actually.
Okay.
Or what I would call willful ignorance.
Okay. So it's enough. It's enough. That's the point I want my audience to get. See, COVID, like I said earlier, has not affected Africa like the West. Okay.
Correct.
Yes, but yet our leaders, people in position that people are looking up to, have ignored basic science. Yeah, and
that's what happened.
Yes, that's what they have ignored it. Basic science, because yes, nobody can say okay, all of them would not have died, but at least some of them might not have died. Affected. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But they got affected because they dismissed the virus.
They believe conspiracy theories are supposed to science.
Okay.
You know, there were people who even said, oh, this thing was Democrats in America that were fighting Republicans. They want to use this thing to disgrace Trump. You know, and now Trump has left, but COVID is still there. So it couldn't have been Democrats like T.J. Trump that now created COVID. A popular pastor in Nigeria said it is 5G.
Yes.
That is COVID. There were other senior politicians with all sort of stories. Up till now, Yahaya Bello is still doesn't believe there's anything called COVID.
Okay. Well,
So,
I pray for him. Eh? I don't pray, but I pray for him. So
right.
See, you have been fantastic. You have stayed with me for nearly 2 hours. Wow.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Oh wow.
Wow. Well. Let me ask you my last question.
You have a lot of editing to do then.
Let me ask you my last question.
Okay.
What is your vision of Africa in 20, 30 years' time? What do you want to see? Okay. What do you want to see in Africa?
20 years.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
Yes, it is.
It is long enough for us to change a whole lot of things about Africa. So I see an Africa that wakes up to the reality that that nobody is coming to fix it. Nobody is coming from the east or the west to fix Africa.
Now
it is Africa that will fix Africa.
Yes.
And that realization should begin to tune our minds to take the right steps in the right direction to make this continent much better than what it is. We're not a country that should be living on aid, foreign aid. We're not a country that cannot invest in our own science or technology.
Yeah.
We have the brain. The same guy that could not get a place to do his medical internship in Nigeria will go to America and become a star in an American hospital.
Yeah.
And the Nigerian politician will live here to the UK only to be attended to by a Nigerian doctor.
Exactly.
In that same UK that he has gone to. So it shows that the most important thing that we need for development is here already, and it is people, resourceful people. We have it. God now decided to crown us with natural resources.
Yes.
I will close with a story that one of my former bosses in Standard Trust Bank in those days told us. It's a simple logic. When we were in training school, we were told that we would need to come on Sundays as part of the training days. So there was one of us who challenged the facilitator and said, why Sunday now? Sunday is supposed to be meant for God. That in America, that is why Americans will say, in God we trust. That is the slogan of America.
Okay. So
the facilitator listened to him. Then he told us, whether it's an analogy, I don't know what to call it, or a parable. He said he doesn't believe that the God of Nigeria is the same as the God of America. And the reason he said it was because the God of America gave America a farm and a river beside the farm. Then when there was no rain, the American thanked God for the river. He put a machine, he designed a machine, put it in that river and watered his farm.
Yes.
He said in the case of a Nigerian, he has a big river beside his big farm. But when the rain refused to fall,
yes,
the African went to church to pray to God to release the rain.
Yes.
That therefore, the concept of God by an American is different from the concept of God by a Nigerian. So, and that spoke to me very deeply. Two people have the same resources.
Yes.
And when there was problem, one provided a solution. He thanked God and provided a solution.
Mm-hmm.
The other party went to disturb God again and said, God,
Yes.
there's a problem.
God, you have to fix it. Fix it.
You have to come and fix it. So Africa must get out of that box and know that all that we require, God has provided for us.
Yes. Gbolahan, on this note, thank you very, very, very much. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. It's nice engagement we've had. How time to fly.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, man.
Have a good evening.
See you. Thank you very much. Take care.
All right.
All right. Bye.
Listen or watch more episodes of Think Big for Africa podcast with new guests every week. Subscribe to ensure that you are notified whenever new episodes are available.